Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. You stretch, you stare up at the ceiling, and you make a really firm promise to yourself. Today is going to be different. Today, I am actually going to be productive. Welcome to This Explainer, where we're unpacking a deeply relatable modern mystery, the absolute collapse of our collective attention spans.
So, you set the ground rules. No endless scrolling, no checking the news, definitely no getting derailed by group chats. You make a coffee, you sit down, you flip open your laptop, and you completely commit to just one single, highly important task. You are focused. You are entirely in control.
But then, 5 minutes later, you decide to check just one email, right? And that email reminds you of a video you meant to look up on YouTube, so you open a new tab. While you're there, a completely unrelated thumbnail catches your eye. And then, without even thinking, you absentmindedly pick up your phone to check Instagram. It's this rapid, almost invisible cascade away from your original intention. And suddenly, you snap out of a trance, and you're 20 minutes deep into watching some guy meticulously restore a rusty sword from the 1800s. An entire hour has just completely disappeared from your day. And honestly, the wildest part is, you don't even remember making the conscious decision to watch it. It feels less like you simply got distracted, and more like someone else entirely was steering the wheel of your attention. Now, we usually tell ourselves that this is just a personal failure, don't we? We say we're just lazy, or that our brains are somehow broken. But what if that feeling isn't laziness at all? What if your focus is actively and intentionally being harvested? We have to ask the big question here. Who actually benefits when millions of people lose their ability to focus without even realizing it? Because I promise you, this absolutely did not happen by accident. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, an evolutionary mismatch. For almost 300,000 years, the human brain evolved in a world of relative silence. There were no flashing advertisements, no endless feeds. If you heard a sudden sound, it meant literal survival. It was either food or it was danger. Paying attention was the difference between life and death. But then, in just the last 20 years, which is a literal blink of an eye in evolutionary terms, humanity built the most powerful algorithmic attention machines the world has ever seen. You know, people love to blame the chemical dopamine for our modern distractions, but dopamine isn't evil. It's just the chemical of anticipation. It's the little voice in our head that whispers, hey, what if something better is next? Back in the day, next meant exploring a new ocean or finding a vital food source, but now, next just means another TikTok, another reel, another push notification. It's infinite possibilities arriving every single second, completely hijacking our primal, hardwired drive to seek out the unknown.
Which brings us to Section 2, the dopamine slot machine.
The core engine driving all of this distraction comes down to a brilliant concept called variable rewards. Because you never actually know what you're gonna get when you refresh your feed. Maybe it's a boring post, maybe it's a hilarious video, or maybe it's a piece of life-changing news. Your brain stays locked in this endless cycle of expectation. You never settle because the reward is incredibly unpredictable. It is the exact same psychological mechanism used in casinos to keep people at the slot machines. Every single swipe, every algorithmic recommendation, every little red notification bubble is the direct result of thousands of engineers, psychologists, and AI systems who have learned exactly how to keep you pulling that lever. Except today, the slot machine fits right inside your pocket, and it goes with you absolutely everywhere.
Section 3, the death of deep thinking.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real devastating cognitive cost of this system, which comes down to context switching. Think of it like trying to build a house, right? You lay a solid brick of thought, but then, buzz, you receive a notification. To deal with it, someone effectively removes a brick from your house. When you finally return to your work, your brain has to completely rebuild its mental context just to figure out where you were. You lay another brick, another notification hits. Eventually, you just give up and stop building altogether. Deep thinking, the kind actually required for great scientific discoveries or true masterpieces, becomes functionally impossible. So the absolutely crucial point to understand here is that this interrupted focus doesn't just ruin your afternoon productivity. What you pay attention to actively shapes your memory. Your memory shapes your core beliefs. Your beliefs shape the decisions you make, and your decisions literally build your future. Whoever or whatever controls your attention is actively shaping your identity and dictating the person you ultimately become. Moving on to Section 4, inside the attention economy.
The average person now checks their phone hundreds of times every single day. Hundreds. This is not a glitch in the system, guys. It is the system working exactly, flawlessly as intended.
Imagine thousands of companies waking up every morning with one singular mission:
capture more of your attention than they did yesterday. Why? Because in today's digital economy, your attention is literally the most profitable currency on Earth. They capture your attention, they sell your time to advertisers, and they generate massive revenue. If an app loses your attention, it loses its revenue and it simply disappears. You have to realize you are no longer the customer. Your attention is the product. Artificial intelligence now actively predicts what you'll want to watch before you even consciously know it yourself. Over time, your feed slowly becomes better at understanding the hidden psychological triggers of your brain than you understand them yourself. The battle for market share has completely shifted. It's not a battle for your wallet anymore. It's a battle for your mind.
Section 5. The ultimate modern superpower. Historically, wealth and power came from owning land. Then it was factories, and then information. Today, the absolute rarest and most valuable resource on the planet is uninterrupted attention. In a world where everyone else is completely distracted and fragmented, the individual who can fiercely protect their focus gains an almost unfair advantage. If you can sit deeply with a complex task, you learn faster, you create vastly better work, you think more clearly, and you start noticing hidden opportunities that the distracted masses are completely scrolling past.
We also really have to reclaim the lost art of doing nothing. Today, just waiting in line at the grocery store or sitting quietly on a bus feels agonizing. We immediately reach into our pockets for stimulation to fill that void. But historically, boredom wasn't a bug in the human experience, it was the birthplace of imagination. Eliminating this empty space means we lose the exact environment where Einstein daydreamed and where great inventors took long, quiet walks. We've traded the ability to create and reflect for a compulsion to constantly consume and react.
Which leaves us with a profound, almost tragic irony. The very technology that promised to liberate us, to save us precious time and make our lives infinitely easier, is now locked in a ruthless, highly funded competition for every single waking second of it. We have to remember that time isn't just some metric of productivity. Every moment you give away to an endless feed is a moment of your actual finite life that you will never ever get back. Which brings us to our final thought. The most important question of our modern age isn't simply, how do I become more productive? It's this: who actually deserves my attention? Because the future isn't going to belong to the people with the fastest phones or the smartest algorithms. The future is going to belong to the people who can still sit down, ignore the noise, and simply think. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep your focus sharp, and I'll see you next time.